Good evening, guys. Hope you had a wonderful week. So this weekend, we are going to be taking a look at what we call the graph editor in After Effects. I want to show you the uses and the usefulness of graph editor. So this is basically to use that. We basically created three squares. Now these three squares are identical in shape and identical in every other thing. So what we want to do is we want to add keyframes to them, their position keyframes, and now show you the difference in them based on their difference in graph editor. What graph editor does sometimes it helps maybe slow down your animation, make it faster in one particular side and all that. So we just to further explain this, we'll be adding a position keyframe. We'll move them all from the left to the right. So let's just select click on the third box because we have three boxes. Then the hold shift, then click on the first one. That's basically you selecting all three. So P for position parameters, that's the shortcut for it. So you add the keyframe. Once you add the keyframe, it automatically adds keyframes for all three of them. So you go down the timeline, then you move them all to the right. Let's see, all three of them to the right. It's the screen. I would say yes, quite good. Then you select all keyframes, F9 for easy easing. So I want to play it now. Then I will show you the difference between it in the graphs. So this is the play version of all three position keyframes. As you can see, they are basically moving at the same speed right now because they all have the same shape, and the parameters for the position, it's the same on the horizontal axis. Now, when you look towards graph makes the animation a little bit different. Now, let me give you an example of it. So when we choose let's stop the animation. Okay. So we're gonna be stopping it. Let's see. It's taking a while to load. Okay, now that the third one is basically the bottom animation. So when you click on you have to make sure you click on the parameters, which is whether the position or whatever parameters you're working with. Then you click on this graph icon. There's a graph editor. So now, when you have a graph editor, you see something like this. We have different kinds of graph editor. So we basically have, which is going to show in colors, and we have speed graph. Where you will be able to change them is when you come down here, you click on this icon, it says chooses graph type. So now we'll be working with speed graph. And you can see this arc. What this arc means in this arc basically means is when it is lower, it means slower speed. When it is high, it means higher speed. That means it's telling you that it starts slow, move a little bit fast, they end slow. That is what it currently means. Now, what you want to do is you want to make this particular first one, want it to start fast. So what you want to do is when you want to make it fast in the beginning, what you have to do is when you click on one of the angles in the graph, all you have to do is when you drag this to the side, you will see that the eye point of the graph is moving towards your left. You're going to start You're going to drag it. That means it's going to start fast, then end slowly. If I play it now, you will see the difference between it and the remaining two right now. So this is me playing it. It's taking a while. As you can see, it started fast and ended slow. Why? Because now in the graph, the beginning is the one with the with eye level, while towards the end it went lower. So as you can see, it started faster but ended slower. Because it started faster, it's getting to the point faster than any one of them. Now, if you do the same for the graph for the second box, we're going to leave this. Let's say, okay, this one now we want it to start slow, then end fast. That means the high points of this graph should be at the ending of this animation. To do that, we'll do the opposite of what we did for the first one, which is basically to drag it out here so the high points can be towards the end. So by doing this, I'm sure you can see in the second one That means it's as you can see, second one is starting slower than the rest and ending fast, basically making it being the one that got to the position the least. Now, this particular third one is basically the one that was that I explained firstly, meaning start slow, move fast, then end slow. This is basically the default setting in graph editor. This is basically default, it's almost like as if it's moving at a steady pace. What you can do to this, you can basically even reduce the speed at the center. To reduce the speed at the center, making it not as fast as it currently is at the center. If you take back the handle of this graph editor a little bit, and you take it back a little bit here as well, it will have some uniform velocity at the center. Taking it back here as well. As you can see, it's almost like as if it's moving at a uniform speed now. So that's basically the essence of the graph editor. It helps you with your animation. What I mean is this: there are some, not everything starts at the same speed. There are some motions in which it starts fast and ends slowly. There are some that start slowly and end fast. So knowing when to make the graph on the high side and when to make it on the low side will definitely determine when your speed becomes fast and when it becomes slow. So that's like the main importance of the graph editor. You could definitely do exercises and work and check it out yourself if to work with graph editor. So that's basically what all I want to explain on graph editor. Now, the other thing we'll be looking at today is from our last class, we talked about masking, and I showed an example of a what is used for in AI, but we did not work on an animation or a eye rig animation in that last class. So that's definitely what we'll be doing this week as well. So this is already my illustration imported in After Effects, but I will show you the raw file of the illustration so you know how to save, know what to do and how to save it and how to import it into After Effects. So this is my raw illustration. This raw illustration consists firstly the lower layer, which is the body. So the body was drawn on the lowest layer, followed by the mouth. So separated from the body and every other part of it. Followed by, we have a eyelid. Or what we mean by eyelid, when the eyes is closed. So we have that layer for a closed eyelid, which is below the eye, which is below the layer of the eye. We have the layer for the eye, which is the white part of our eyes. Then we have a new layer for the pupil. So these are basically, so when you're illustrating 3, 4, 5 layers to work with, which you would have to save this way. It's always good to change your colors and work with whatever I want to work with. So this is me just saving it. So now I saved mine and it has been exported and imported into the After Effects. Now, once this has been done, you need to make sure that all the anchor points are and their individual center. This is the center for the body, as you can see. For the mouth, it's at the center. For the eyelids, it's at the center. For the eyes itself, it's also at the center. And for the pupil, it's also at their center. Now, one of the first thing we'll definitely be doing here is would have to mask out the eye, the pupil, because as you can see, the pupil is over the eyes, and people can't just budge out of our eyes. It's not possible realistically. So to mask it, it's one of the things we went over in the last week session. What you have to do is you will duplicate the layer in which you want to use to mask that pupil, which is the eye layer. So once you are duplicating it, once you duplicate it, we'll replace it above the pupil which you want to mask. Then you go to the track matte option, then you change it to alpha matte for the pupil. So alpha matte eye too, as you can see. Now, one of the best things to always do is always change your mask layer, change the name of your mask, rename it, maybe an eye mask layer. So I will definitely be changing it to eye mask so I can know which one is the mask and which one is not the mask. Yes, mask, eye mask. So that's the name for it. Now, the next thing to do is to parent things that you want to move and things you don't want to move. Now, when we are looking at these eyes and the mouth and every other position of the face, we want the people to always follow the eyes. So we'll definitely be parenting the people to the eyes. So let's see what's the people to the eyes. Let's see people to the eyes. Okay. Okay, yeah, people. Parenting, yes, to the eyes. Now that has been done. One of the things, so to check it out, what you basically see is if you know that as you can see, the people is not leaving this eye section. Asking method is today we are trying to take a little bit further and we want to do a blinking eyes. So there's another method for masking which we did not talk about before, so I'll be talking about it today. So if you want to mask, let's undo all this. Let me go back to no charts. So for masking is you add a masking effect, a set matte effect. So what you have to do is just click on the people, then go to effects and presets, which is usually on the right side of your screen. As you can see, currently I was working on something before, so that's why. So what you see is you would see an effects and presets usually on the right side of your After Effects. So effects and presets, you will search for matte set matte effects. So you drag it and place it over the pupil which you want to mask. Now it's going to bring this option in the effects control panel here. So what you will do is you will see take mask from layer. As you can see, it said from layer pupil, but you want to take it away from layer eyes. So you change it from pupil to layer eyes. That means you want to mask it from the eyes. So that's what you click on. So it automatically create that mask as usual. It does the same thing as the other previous method, but this method saves you the process of duplicating, and any requires you to add a blink to it. This is the method to go about it. So now once you've done this, you will now parent all these things that are supposed to parent to each other. As you can see, we parented the pupil to the eyes. We are supposed to parent the eyes, the eyelids, the mouth to the body. But if we parent them directly to the body, if we want to do individual changes to them, it's going to be very difficult. So the first thing to basically do is we first parent all three of them to a null object, a nothing layer, which I think I've shown in the previous video. When you want to parent many things to an empty layer, so you can basically be able to animate them together while also retaining some of their properties. The best thing to do is create a null object. So the one thing to do, you go outside, you will not click anything, then you click on right click inside of all the objects, then you new null objects. So to create a new empty layer that has nothing on it but has its own parameters, you can see this is it. Make sure that the anchor point is at the center. You would basically use anchor point 2 to drag it to the center, but I already have a script which I use, so I'm just going to place it at the center. And once you've done that, you will now align it to the center of your animation. So you also have the align tool right here. Let's see, align, yes. So align it to the center of my animation. So with that, I will now parent everything to this null object one, meaning everything I wanted to parent to the body, meaning the eyes. I'll parent the eyes to the null object. I'll parent the eyelids to the null object. Then I'll parent the mouth to the null object. By parenting all three of these to the null objects, if I click on the position parameters and I move the parameter for the null object, you will see that the eyes, the eyelids, and the mouth, they all move with it. So that is what we want to achieve. So Ctrl Z. So now we want the eyes to maybe go left, go right, and every other position. So we basically start, I think let's start from, we'll animate the pupil because pupil is basically what shows where we are looking at. So position, so let's add a keyframe to it, position. Then let's go maybe down the keyframe. This time around, I will not be creating a lot of keyframe spaces because our eyes move very fast. So I won't be using the shift page down, which I normally use. I'll just be using page down alone without pressing shift. I'll be pressing page down, let's say 5 times. Let me zoom in so you can see what I'm working with. Yeah, so 5 times then. So I'll basically move the pupil to the left now. Let's see, let's go left. We go left. Yes, let's go left. Um, I'll go a little bit. I will stay, you will stay at left a little bit. Then yes, I want to move. Now it's going to stay at left for a while. So I'm just going to copy this because I want to move it to the right. And I'm going to copy since it's staying at left. So from here to the new keyframe, it will still be the same keyframe. This is the keyframe. So I'll just copy, Ctrl C, Ctrl V. Then I'm going to move the eye to the right now. That's pitch down 5 times without shift. So I'll move the pupil to the right now. Then let's stay at the right for a while as well. So since it's staying at the right for a while as well, I'll just copy to the new. So basically, this is where I stopped. So I made the eyes loop down here. So we just want to play it and see where we at. That's before I even easy ease or the keyframes. So as you can see, that's basically the eyes moving, but it feels cartoony, it doesn't look that real. So let me easy ease each of those keyframes. That's selecting all of them and clicking F9. Then now we all know that when you look towards a certain position, your mouth and your face moves a little bit just to look at. When you want to look at the left, your face moves a little bit to look at the left. So to make it more realistic, when it's looking, when we have to move the eyes and mouth to face whatever position it's going to be looking at, and to move them all together. That is why we basically parented them to the null object. So we want to add keyframes to each of their movements as well. So in the beginning, when the eyes is looking straight forward, you just add a position keyframe as the neutral point. So when it looks to the left, when it looks to the left, okay, looks to the left, the mouth and the eyes should also look to the left a bit. So I'm moving them to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. So when it looks to the from the left, let's copy paste. This same keyframe, this keyframe is the same as this new one. So when it moves to the right, the face should also move to the right as well. So we'll be moving to the right with the mouth as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see. Then when it looks down, I'm going to move it down as well, because there's no way we'll look down without nose or mouth also facing down a little bit. So we are basically going center and down. So center, I'm placing back to the center. I copied the first keyframe and pasted to the last one. That's how I got it back to the center because we started at center. But now we go down a little bit since it's looking down. So if we select all these keyframes and easy ease them, then we play it. We definitely see the difference between before and after now. As you can see, it's looking more realistic. Though I've not made it into a looping animation. So I feel we can't just be looking around so fast. So you increase the space in its weight position for each one of them. So his waiting position, I want to increase the space between each time it pauses to look at another place. So let's say let's make it, I used shift page down twice. So I want to increase the space in which it stays in one position. Which the eye stays in one position. So now the point at which the eye looked left is now much a little bit. Now to the point that it looks right as well, I want to increase that one as well. So instead of just one page down in between, maybe 1, 2. So you select all the keyframes here and move it to the end as well. Selecting these keyframes, moving it to the end. It's not on the line itself. Let's make it there. Now, like I said, I always like to end animations the same way they start. So what we have to do now is make it look back. Okay, we've not looked up. Let's make it look up. Okay, so let's look up. Let's page down twice. From down up. So the difference from here to where it currently is, it's still looking down. So we just copy the last keyframe and paste it there. We also copy the last keyframes from the bottom one as well. Then paste it there. Then we'll make it look up. Make him look up. So to look up pupil, let's go up. Let's go up. So now the full phase 2 will look up a bit because it's basically looking up. So let's see. Okay, I think it's gone up a bit as well. Then now let's end it the same way we started, which is bringing it back to the center. So like I said, the interval time, copy this and paste it to the new place as well. Copy the bottom one and paste it to the new place as well. Then page down 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, since we want to make it end the same way we started, all we have to do is just whatever, anytime you want to create animations and you want them to end the same way you start, you have to just go and copy the first keyframes and paste it in the last place. The looping animation currently. So I'm playing right now, so it's to play. As you can see, this is basically a full animation for eye movements. Now, we want to make this look even more cool because there's no way a human does not blink. So you want to add a little bit of blinks into it. Now, adding blinks into it has to do with what we call shape paths. Now, you would have to go and edit shape paths instead of, you won't just edit scale, because if you try to edit scale, it would look unnatural. Let me give you an example of what we mean by if we were to try and edit scale. So to close the eyes, what you need to close is the eyes part of things. So if you were to try, let's say, um, work with skill, want to work with skill, let's say, okay, you unlink the skill, then you decide to reduce just the up and down of the skill. So let's reduce it just to give it that closed eyes, this thing. Now, as you can see, it definitely looks like as if his eyes is closing, but it doesn't feel natural because our eyes do not close so symmetrical. Like the up and the down closing at the same time like this doesn't really work. And it's also affecting the the pupil. As you can see, the pupil is shrinking as well, so that doesn't work. So what works is basically you would edit shape parts. Now, where do you find the shape parts? So like this, all you have to do is you click on the drop down here. Then you will see two things. You will see content and transform. Now you click on the content.
Matthew, we
Then
have
you,
like
for
a minute left.
the minutes left. Okay. Okay. I will try and round up. I'll try and rush it up. So for the first shape, this is the first shape. If you were to open, it's one of the eyes. So you drop it down, then you click on parts. That's basically you've gotten the shape part. If you were to click on it, it will bring arrows like this. Now, what you will do is just you use pen tool, then you hold shift and click on a certain point at which I think this is shape one. So once you click on this, as you can see, it brought arrows or angles. So this is what you edit for a closed eye. You close it up, bottom, top, and bottom. So with this, you get a closed eyelid. So this is how you get a closed eyelid. I hope you guys understand. So you'll be able to like complete this with the assignments. So closing the eyes up completely. So so basically we are now in the shape part tool. So use your pen to let's zoom in so we can close the eyelids. One thing you need to understand is our eyelids close below the middle line. So that's why the upper one was dragged even lower than the middle line. So we are trying to close it up. So closing it up. So make sure it's fully closed. If this is closed, let's zoom in. Let's close this other one as well. This is closed on this end. This is editing part two with your hand. So this will take a bit of more of your time because the eye needs to close. And we are using pen tool to do that. And the top part of it as well. With this, one of the eyes is closed. As you can see, one of the eyes is closed. But one of the things you need to consider is while I was doing this, I did not add any keyframes just to show you what shape parts tool means. You understand? This is how you'll be closing one of the eyelids. So now to animate it, we need to add keyframes when it's open and when it's closed. So let me go back to when it was open. This is me just clicking on Control Z. So we can add a keyframe. So just multiple Control Z. Yeah, going back. Okay, let's see. Okay, so it has gone back to the way it was before. So now the first thing you do, you must add, when you open that part too, you must add a keyframe. This is for when the eye is open. So now you want to do for when it's closed or when it blinks. So when it closes, to blink, it's basically open, close, open. So we want to do for when it's closed. So don't forget when you click on pen tool, when you go to shape parts, if you click on the parts, add keyframe for when it's open, click on pen tool, then hold shift and click on one of the points. Always hold shift to click on one of the points, else it will not work if you do not do that. Then you drag it, make sure you drag it below the center point. As you can see, it's already adding it as the keyframe here. That means the changes already been added. So now make sure it is closed. You can zoom in to get that to work fast. And let's see. Comes available one. Yes, okay. I'll try and close it even faster. It's just gonna take a bit of time. Okay. The same two. And this two. With this, all it's, the eyelid is closed now, as you can see. That's it's closed. So what shall we just go down the timeline again and copy the keyframe from when it was open, then paste it there. So it will be like a closed, open, closed. So Control C, Control V, that's what I did. Now, one thing you need to understand about the eyes is we close our eyes faster than we open it. So the space between the the open and close should be very little. So basically, I suggest you just do maybe like two keyframes. That's just page down like twice, one, two. Then so I'm going to be dragging the closed keyframe closer to it. And when we open it, it takes us twice the amount of time we close it to open it. So this one should be four since that one was two. So one, two, three, four. So that's four. So that's for one eye. We'll repeat this process for the second eyes as well. So let me I'm selecting the keyframe and easing it. Now, to get the second eye, after you go down, as you can see, the second eye is this group two. So you do the same thing you did for the first one, for the second one. You click the drop down, click on parts. All the keyframes must be on the same space. So you go back to where keyframe for the first open was. You add a keyframe that's for the second eye. Then when it closed for the second eye, the when it goes for the first eye, the second eyes must also close. So you do the exact same process, use the pen tool, you hold shift, you click on the bottom top part of it, you drag it down to more than, you try and match the level it is for the first eye. Then you zoom in as well, then you make sure it closes. Make sure the second eye is closes. Um, 2. So you do this is 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 well, what just happened? Hope you guys can still see my screen.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm closing the eyes. This process takes a little bit more time than the eye movement itself, but once it's done, you'll definitely love it. Makes the eye look more realistic. So this eyes is also closed this way. So for the third part of it, when it opens up again, it will be on the same way the first eye opens as well. All you have to do is just copy the open version of the second eye, Ctrl C, Ctrl V. Then you use all its own keyframe as well. Once you've gotten this single eye blink, all you have to do is just copy and paste for if you want to do multiple eye blinks. So it's all about getting one single eye blinks. F9. Now it has been easy eased. Now, one thing is that you can see the drop down makes the whole view very long. One thing you need to do is if you just want only the keyframes to show in a particular object, all you have to do is just shortcut U to close every other thing, just leaving its keyframe alone. As you can see, the whole of the drop down that we created has now become just the keyframes alone. So we'll play it now to see our eye blink. So it's still moving. As you can see, it just blinked a few minutes ago. It felt so natural. So now when you want to add eye blinks to any part of it, all you have to do is just copy them and paste them. Let me give you an example. So let's add an eye blink here. So we have to just copy these 3 keyframes. For the first eye, copy the 3, Ctrl C, Ctrl V. For the second eye, to copy it and paste it, just Ctrl C. When you select all 3, copy and paste. Then let's add along the line as well. Maybe towards the ear as well. Ctrl C, Ctrl V. It doesn't have to be uniform. Where you add your eye blinks doesn't have to be systematic, as since it's not as if we calculate the way we blink our eyes. So with this, let's play it and see how it works for it. As you can see, with this, we are basically done with eye rigging and eye blink animation. As you can see, it's blinking, it's moving, it's doing all it's supposed to do. This is how, when you see all those eye blinks you see on the on Instagram, on YouTube videos, this is basically how it's done. So I think that is all for our assignment for maybe the next week.